Hey everybody, it's Dennis and we are live with another Udemy UHangout, and I'm excited because today we have one of the top instructors on Udemy who is also an author, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things today, including his books and also his courses and some things that he's got going on. So today we have Phil Ebiner with us, and he's got over 73,000 students, and we were talking about before we came on live that that's more than some of the towns here in Idaho. And he's got over 1,000 reviews, and he's got a lot of courses. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking and welcome Phil and let him tell you a little bit about himself and what he's doing.
Hey everyone, and thanks Dennis for the introduction. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully everyone who's listening gets a lot of benefit out of this conversation. And yeah, so like you mentioned, I have a lot of classes, and I've been teaching online since 2012. It was really the first year or two when Udemy was online and all these other websites started popping up. And since then, I've been just busy creating a lot of content, learning the ropes as I went along. Before I started teaching online, I had no experience with building a brand or a website, and I've learned all of that stuff on the way, and I'm still learning. I still think that I'm bad at a lot of things, but I just experiment and things have worked out. My main focus has always been on just creating a lot of content and just putting it out there, even if it's not perfect. And the latest and greatest thing has been over the past couple months, I moved to a new city and I quit my full-time job for good, hopefully for good, and I'm just teaching online full-time and doing other freelance projects. My background is in video production, so I went to school to learn about filmmaking, and I'm still doing that freelance about half-time. And I tried doing that full-time, at being a freelancer full-time in the past, but it was always so stressful without a stream of income that was consistent. And since I've been able to build up this online stream of income with teaching online over the past 3 years, I'm at a really good spot right now where I can teach online but also focus on other types of projects and not necessarily have to worry about the paycheck. So I feel very blessed to be where I'm at, and I hope that some of the things that I've done can help teach everyone else how to have success.
That's awesome. The other thing too that's happened to you since we last talked is that you got married too.
Yeah, that's the biggest news actually. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got married in March, and Isabel, my wife, we've been together for over 6 years now, and
Wow.
yeah, it's been great. And we were up in the Bay Area where she was going to school, getting her master's, and now we're back in the LA area in California, closer to family. So it was a good move, and it's a fun adventure.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that, and congratulations on going full time with your teaching and everything else that you're doing.
Yeah,
Now,
thanks.
you're welcome. And I'm coming up on a year actually this month on being on Udemy. Tell us how long that you've been on the platform.
So the very first class that I taught I launched it in October of 2012. So it's almost been 3 full years now, and I feel lucky that I was able to launch that course way back when. It was a video editing class on an older piece of software. It's Final Cut Pro, which Apple makes a newer version for video editing, but it was the old version that I was using at the time, and it was just the first thing that popped in my head when I thought, oh, what could I teach? And I think in that first month I made $60, and that was awesome.
Wow. I didn't realize that it had been that long, because you know, some of the things that I see in the Udemy studio is some of the newer instructors. Like when I first started, I made something like $14.80, and I was just looking at my numbers yesterday, and I've
Yeah.
actually already done more than that in one day. And
Yeah.
so it takes a while, and it's like we can talk about, like, you're pretty open with your earnings and all of that, and I was just looking at one of your earnings for April, and I think it was something like $8,000 plus some of the other stuff that you do. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there's potential.
Yeah, there's definitely potential. And I mean, you making $14 in your first month and me making $60, I think that's amazing. But I see some of these new instructors posting on the Udemy Facebook groups who are making thousands in their first month or two, and I'm so impressed about how they do that. And so there's definitely potential. It doesn't have to take 3 years to get to the level where I'm at. But I think the way that I go about creating courses and promotion, it does lend itself to taking a while, because I'm not that good at promotion, but I'm all about putting out courses. And so I've always thought if I just put out more courses, the income will just slowly increase. And I was just looking at my income from the past year, and it's very incredible. It's averaged about 8,000 or 9,000 a month for the past year. It went up to just under 13,000 in 1 month in November of last
Wow.
year. So that was during the Black Friday sales. And this is just on Udemy alone. And on other platforms like Skillshare and Skillfeed, for the past 3 or 4 months, it's hovered over $1,000 a month per site. And the thing is, I'm not doing this full time. Up until a couple months ago, I had a full-time job, and I was just doing this on the nights and in the weekends. And still, I'm spending half of my time doing other types of freelance work and just half the time teaching online. And that's what's so, it's really crazy talking to people who are working, slaving away at jobs at their desk, 9-to-5 jobs, working 60 hours a week. And I feel lucky and so blessed that this has happened. And it took a lot of work, and it's not everyone's going to have this much success. I know that, but knowing that I basically did it without any experience makes me think that anybody who puts their mind to can actually do it.
Yeah, I think that's correct. And even if even if it's a couple of $1,000s a month, I still think that that's pretty impressive, because
Oh
you
yeah.
live you live in LA and I live here in Idaho. So of course, cost of living and stuff like that is
Mm-hmm.
different. And there's a lot of call centers here. So call center jobs, they don't typically pay a lot. And so if you're making $2,000 to $3,000 a month on Udemy or something like that, that's pretty impressive, I think. And when you talk about what you're earning, that's even more so impressive.
Yeah, and not only in Idaho, but across the world. I know that instructors have been able to move to places like Southeast Asia and the Philippines or Thailand to teach online, where the cost of living is so low that making $1,000 a month, you're living like royalty over there. And so yeah, I live in one of the most expensive parts of the country, and I moved from San Francisco, which is, I think, rent just past New York for the most expensive part of the country. So that's unfortunately a decision that I'm making, and my family is all from here, so that has something to do with it. And I would love to move somewhere else, but I'm spoiled by the California sunshine. It's hard to get away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the nice thing, though, is that you can afford to take the trips or whatnot, and you work from home. So we know what Los Angeles traffic is like, is that
Yeah.
you basically avoid a lot of that. I know that my favorite place is Seattle, and the cost of living
Mhm.
has increased a lot there. And of course, the traffic is a nightmare. But I mean, that's one of the things that attracted me to this lifestyle, is that if I want, I could stay someplace like here, but
Mhm.
I'm not locked into being here all the time. I'm leaving on Sunday, driving to the coast, and then driving up to Seattle for a week. And I noticed that you have a a baseball course, and I'm going to two Mariners games, and they're playing the Los Angeles Angels.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's my team.
Yeah. So maybe we should do some betting or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's so great. It's not about it doesn't have to be about an entire life change about the way you live. It could just be the little things like, just this week, I'm watching the Women's World Cup, and it's nice to be able to be like, I'm done at work. I'm done working at 4 o'clock, so I could watch this game. Whereas if I was working at a 9-to-5 job, I'd be trying to sneak out and watch it, or I'd have to take time off and use vacation for that. Or like the other week, just going to the beach in the middle of the week on a random day. It's that flexibility that is what in the end is what money buys. And I think it does buy happiness in the end. Is having that flexibility is so nice.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. So you've been on Udemy for a while, and you talked about what your first course is. Let's talk about a little bit about maybe some of your advice on course creation. Some of those instructors that are maybe out there for a year like myself, or some of them that are just starting. I've got quite a few in my group on Facebook that always ask different questions, even though the focus is mostly on marketing. But let's talk a little bit about some of your advice for course creation.
Yeah, so one thing that I think I've mentioned when we've done a hangout with a few other instructors before is that I always advise people to truly just teach what you love. And people are always asking me, how do you know if a course is going to be a bestseller? How do I know if I'm going to make money from this? And when you're starting out, I don't think that's the best reason to teach a course, because when you're starting out, unless it's some sort of freak thing where you create an amazing course that goes viral and makes you a lot of money, most times your first course isn't going to make a lot of money, and the quality is not going to be that great because you're still learning the ropes. And so I suggest just picking something that you know and you love and you can talk about, and not worry about the money side of it, and see if you like actually creating these courses. Because it might seem awesome from the outside that I can stay at home and create these courses and make money, but from the inside, sometimes it's not that great. Sometimes I'm in my office at my house all day long and I don't get outside, and life is boring and I'm just stuck here. And so you want to know, teaching your first couple classes is going to be hard. It's a lot of work, but it'll be a lot easier if you teach a class that you truly love. So for me, I love making movies and making videos. So all of my first classes were about, how do you make those movies? How do you edit video? How do you shoot video? I love photography, so how do you take photos? I love traveling, and so I taught a course on travel photography. So teach something that you love. And then from there, you can kind of see what courses take off. Is there more interest in one particular subject or the other? And then go with that. And so create other courses that are related to that course that you can cross-sell to those other students. So for example, one of my most popular courses is an After Effects course. After Effects is a software that allows you to create motion graphics for videos, so like titles or special effects. You can edit green screen, do all sorts of things. And there's a lot of people learning it out there. And so I taught a basic course about how to use After Effects, and that was popular. And so I saw that it was popular and thought maybe there's some students who want a more advanced course in this topic. And so I've taught probably at least 6 or 7 other courses just on After Effects, but on a different type of After Effects or a different thing that you can do within After Effects. And so that's probably where I've had the most success. It's creating some sort of overall course, sort of like an introductory lesson for beginners, and then creating more advanced courses surrounding that topic that I can cross-promote to. Because you have a lot of power once you get students. Once you start getting students on Udemy, once you start promoting to those students, sending out promotional announcements, that's when the income really starts to roll in. So those would be my 2 main tips for beginners: is just start out teaching what you love, and then then branch out and teach courses that are related to each other so you can cross-promote within those courses.
I think that that's great information. That's something that I kind of learned along the way, is that I've got my marketing course, but I've also scaled back and done or did a starter version of that course and offer it for free so that I can get people into that course so that they can kind of have a feel for how I teach. And then, you know, as they fall into some of these other things that I'm doing, that they can see that I have that more advanced course that they can take and learn more or different techniques and things like that. So I think that you have some good information with that. Now, you have quite a few courses, and I noticed that some of those courses that you actually teach or co-teach with some other instructors. You want to go ahead and kind of elaborate on that a little bit and let everyone know what goes on with that?
Yeah, so co-teaching a class is a great option if you want to teach a class that you're not 100% sure that you could teach alone. But there's also things you have to keep in mind. So let's talk about it a little bit, because I've had some good experiences and I've had some bad experiences co-teaching. Let's go back, and I first started teaching I first tried to teach a class together with another person doing an Adobe Illustrator class. And I knew a little bit about Adobe Illustrator. They were an expert that I just found online. So that was the first mistake, finding someone through, I think it was Elance or Odesk, posting a job saying, hey, can anyone teach Adobe Illustrator? I want to co-teach a class with them. And so that was the first mistake, because I think you truly need to know the person and have a relationship with that person before you start teaching a class for it to be successful. So we went ahead and taught that class, but the person's teaching style just wasn't up to my standards, and he was just a little bit hard to understand, and he just didn't teach it as clearly as I wanted to. And so that experience I ended up posting the course, but it got a lot of bad reviews, and it hasn't made that much money. So I learned my lesson, and the lesson, like I said, was you have to have a relationship with the person you're teaching the class with, because you have to be able to trust them that not only do they know the topic, but that they're going to put in the amount of effort that it takes to create a good class. And so with my recent and most successful, it's actually my most successful course, I co-taught the photography masterclass with my good friend Sam. And I've known Sam for 5 or 6 years. He was one of the groomsmen at my wedding, and so I could trust this guy that he knew what he was talking about. And we decided to teach this photography class because we noticed that Udemy had a few overall photography classes, but they didn't have one that was kind of all-encompassing, learn everything possible about photography. And we spent a lot of time working on it, and it was really great working on a class with another person, because, and this was like, we were together. It wasn't across the internet. We were actually together in the same room. I was shooting lessons with him in front of the camera. He was shooting lessons with me in front of the camera. And it just really helped out that it made it a lot easier to do setups and make it look more professional. And I think since we launched in February of this year, so less than 6 months or so, we've each made $19,000 from that course.
Wow.
And so that's my most successful course so far. And so the lessons I learned from teaching with him were that you have to trust the person, and you have to put him in the same amount of work. So for that class, he was the expert in photography. I know a lot about photography, but he was able to take it to the advanced level, and I knew that from the get-go. And so I told him, I'll do all the work in the back end. I'll edit these videos, I'll post it on Udemy, I'll promote it with my website. You just have to be the expert for the class. And I figured that was a pretty good split, and so we ended up splitting the revenue 50-50. So that's another thing to consider with Udemy. You can split revenue with another instructor in your class, and you have to come to terms with, is it a 50-50 split or not? And me coming with all the students that I could promote to with my website and doing all the work in the back end, felt like it was a good deal to go 50-50. And so I'm planning on doing a lot more co-teaching. I have classes lined up with a few more of my friends, because after Sam was like, this is crazy, he put in like 40 or 80 hours of work and got this return, all of my friends are like, can we teach classes now?
That's funny.
So it's kind of cool, because I can create courses that I might not know a lot about, but I could still benefit from them in getting students and generating extra revenue.
Yeah, I think that like listening to that, I think the takeaway on that is, of course, make sure that it's somebody that you know and that you trust, and also somebody that's on the same level as you are, because you're putting your name on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you said, if you have somebody that's just not up to the same caliber that you are, you're risking, ruining your reputation, releasing a course with somebody that's just not quite on the same level that you're on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One other note with co-teaching, though, Udemy makes it really easy to co-teach because they have that revenue split, but the other platforms that I teach on, Skillshare and Skillfeed, don't have an automatic way to split revenue with another instructor. So just keep that in mind. You can create a separate account that maybe like a business teaching account that all the revenue goes to from Skillfeed or Skillshare for that class, and then split it afterwards. But it gets a little tricky with taxes and everything. So I love how Udemy allows you to just automatically split revenue with another instructor.
Yeah, and for those who might not know, Skillfeed and Skillshare are two other websites kind of like Udemy where you can upload your course. I know that with Skillfeed, I've uploaded my courses because once you have that done on Udemy, it's fairly easy. The problem is, like with Skillfeed, I've noticed that my revenue has kind of fallen off, and that they're a little slow at approving courses, and they're not as focused, as Udemy is. And then I haven't really dabbled in Skillshare, but it looks like it's fairly decent. I know that Rob Cubbin and some others have their courses out there too on those sites. What do you think of those other sites?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely noticed that Skillfeed has kind of gone downhill as of late. In particular, this past month, you can track. So backing up, the way that Skillfeed works is that you see how many minutes your courses are watched, and you basically get paid depending on how many minutes your courses are watched compared to everyone else. And it's a subscription model, so all of the subscribers' money goes into a big pot, and then it's split between all the instructors depending on how popular your courses are. And you can track your minutes, and in this past month, my minutes were less than 10% what they've been on average. And so it is a little worrisome. We get the revenue report in a few days, so we'll see if there was some mistake in calculating the minutes, or if there really is, if it's really going downhill. So that's Skillfeed, and so right now I can't say whether to use it or not, but I can say that for the past year I've averaged about $1,000 per month on there, which has been amazing. And then with Skillshare, it's so confusing that there's Skillshare and Skillfeed. But with Skillshare, it's actually picked up quite a bit since I launched my first course on there about 6 or 7 months ago. I put some of my own courses that I already had on Udemy on Skillshare just to see how they did. But the courses that seem to have done really good for Skillshare are the ones that I've created specifically for them. And I've done that because Skillshare courses are very much project-based. So if you're a creative person out there and you're teaching some sort of skill related to doing something creative, making something, whether it's making a type of video, making hand letter designs, or any sort of craft, it's really good for those types of skills, because if you can, each course is based off of a project, and if your project looks cool and if students want to be able to make that project, you'll get a lot of people enrolling in those classes. And so I've released 3 individual courses over the past 2 or 3 months just on Skillshare, or I put it on Udemy as well, but focused on Skillshare, and the revenue has jumped from under 1,000 to, I think last month was 1,700 on Skillshare alone.
Wow.
So it's good for those project-based courses.
Yeah, I might need to look at it just a little bit more. I mean, I do need to, I know for sure, like my goal this month is to get at least 1 course, because I told myself 2 courses on Udemy, and
Yeah.
I'm not meeting that, so I'll start with 1 and then go from there. But
I mean, seriously, and for you, for like Skillshare, if you could do, it's very focused, so it doesn't have to be a huge course. It could be 30 minutes. Those are the ones, they actually recommend like 30 to 45-minute courses are the best. And so if you created a course that was like, get 100 more Facebook likes or something like that that you know how to do, that could be a course in itself. And if you really dived into like how you did that, I think that would be a pretty popular course on Skillshare.
Interesting. So let's go ahead and talk about like how you do your marketing for your courses, and I know that we've talked a little bit about cross promotions, and we can go into that a little bit more. Maybe you've got some tips that you can offer some of the newer instructors out there, because some people go into, you know, being a little more elaborate with that and using more graphics, and others are more text-based. So let's talk about cross promotions and maybe some of the other advice that you have for marketing courses.
Yeah, so I have a pretty standard way that I market my courses. I basically launch them, and once they're launched, I'll put out a blog article about it on my site, videoschoolonline.com. I'll hopefully put out a couple YouTube videos related to that course, just a promo video, but also maybe some sort of tutorial or even a lesson from the course. And within all of this, I'll be linking back to the course itself. And then I'll send out an email to my list of subscribers who have subscribed to Video School Online. And I'll also use the Udemy messaging to send out a big announcement to all of my students. Typically, when I launch a new course, I'll just message all of my courses. Sometimes if I'm doing announcements for a course, an older course that I just want to try to revive, I'll send it to specific courses that might be more interested in it. For example, if I have a video related course or video editing related course, I'll send it to all of the announcement to all my classes that are related to video making. If I launch, or if I'm promoting my course on how to write an ebook, I'll send it to all of my courses that are related to online business. So like my teaching online course or my ebook cover design course. So anything that's related. I have a freelancers course, how to kickstart your freelance career course. And within those announcements, it's pretty simple. I try to keep the text very minimal. I know that I see a lot of people's announcements come in my inbox, and you have to scroll down, and they have images for every single class that they have, and it gets kind of crazy, and maybe they have success with that. But when I'm marketing a course, I've found more success when I just pick one course to market and promote that course, rather than saying, here's all my classes for $19 a piece, and then it's not very focused. But if it's a more focused marketing promotion, I've had more success with that. One thing that I did recently for my last course, which was an After Effects course, was I put a GIF in the message itself. And since you can't embed video into your messages, the GIF was actually very engaging because it showed, again, this was a project-based course, and it showed what you would learn how to do by the end of the course. So it was just like a little animation. And when people opened up that announcement, they should see the actual animation being built onto the video. and underneath I wrote something like, oh, do you want to be able to create this? And so playing with GIFs is something that, or GIFs, however you pronounce it, is something that I think I want to play with even more, just to make the announcements that end up in people's email boxes a little bit more interesting. I always try to add a photo, whether it's the course ID photo, the course image, or just a photo of something related, or a photo of me or something like that. So I'm trying to think of any other specific. Do you have any questions about other specific ways that I?
Well, so that you're saying that that was an animated image that you were able to put into the announcement?
I believe it was, because it showed up as an animated image when I opened it from my email.
Wow.
So I just saved it. That. Yeah, and I don't know if it's going to be allowed much longer if they find out people are doing it and abusing it. But yeah, it's just a GIF that you save from Photoshop, so it's a little bit technical, but you have to learn how to make a GIF out of a video clip in Photoshop, or there's other ways to do it. But yeah, I believe you can actually insert. It's just like an image file, so it uploads totally fine to the promotional announcement, and yeah, it showed up in my email box as animated.
And I know that you have, like, I mean, tremendous skills when it comes to video and all of that. So somebody who might be out there saying, well, I have no clue how to do that. Well, I always recommend Fiverr to find somebody there. What about like intro videos and stuff like that? I know that you create like great intro videos. You've got your jingle and your logo for your website and all of that. Are there any other places that you know of that people might go to like find somebody to do that for them that's fairly affordable?
Well, I think there's two ways to do that. If you want to actually have someone create it yourself or themselves for you, like you said, Fiverr could be good, and there's lots of options for creating a cool little intro video for your brand, but all of them are just stock replicas. So you might find the same exact type of video for someone else's brand on another course or on another website. And so it'd be better if you could customize it in a way just to make it look a little bit more unique. You could go to freelance websites like Odesk or Elance and maybe find someone to do it. I know there's a lot of motion graphics artists. Or you could learn yourself, and there's templates that you can buy. You don't have to learn. I actually have a free course where you can learn how to use After Effects templates, and that's what I use to create those little motion graphic intros. And so if you go to my Udemy page, you can find the free class on how to use templates, and then you can buy a template from a place like videohive.net, and they have lots of little things where you can just plug in your image or the title, just text, and it makes it look very professional. So I think, those are some options, but having a good intro video is really important, and something that I actually went back and I haven't done some in the past month, but a month ago or so, I redid intro videos for like 6 or 7 of my classes. After looking at them and being like, these are so terrible, why would anyone buy this course, especially compared to the courses that I do now. And so if you have an old course, try creating a new intro video for it, a new promo video, because now with the relatively new layout of Udemy in the past 6 months, the video is a lot bigger, and that's the first thing that people are going to click on. Whereas before it was like a little box in the corner, which made no sense to me why anyone would try to watch a video up in that corner. So I'm actually glad that they're bigger. But yeah, they're very important, I think.
Yeah, I think that's great advice on that, and it was making me think about like one of my first courses on MailChimp that I had an intro created on Fiverr, and I actually put it on each video at the beginning, and somebody said that was kind of annoying. And so I
Yeah.
thought, oh, well, maybe I should go back and just like have something at the beginning, because then you can get like your logo in there and maybe your website or something like that. And then
Yeah.
the other thing that you mentioned was Video Hive, and I think that that's part of Envato, who
Yeah.
owns
Yeah.
ThemeForest, and they have Code Canyon. So that's a good place to go. They also
Mm-hmm.
own, somebody mentioned it in the studio today, Audio Jungle, which I've used before for audio. So there's some great resources. And you talked about After Effects, which is Adobe, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a MacBook now, and I think that you're PC based. Is that correct?
I'm actually Mac, but
Oh, you're Mac.
Adobe is both Mac
Both.
and
Both,
PCs.
yeah. And they have a subscription now, so it's not like it used to be where it was like hundreds of dollars. I
Yeah.
think that you can subscribe monthly and use those tools, right?
Yeah, and you can
Yeah.
even get a 30-day free trial for any of the tools if you want to try it out. And just one more resource, which is actually a Udemy resource for creating promo videos. I just typed in Udemy promo video into Google, and it's the second result. It's the quality standards that Udemy put out for their promo videos. This is a great resource. This is the one that I basically replicated when I redid all of my promo videos a month or so back. And it basically tells you in the first 20 seconds, here's what you do. In the next 20 seconds, here's what you do. In the next 10 seconds, here's what you do. And I basically took that and took all of my courses and just filled in the information and then shot a bunch of them at the same time. And like I mentioned, I immediately saw an uptick in sales after I published new promo videos.
Wow. That's something
Yeah.
that I need to do. Maybe I should skip my vacation.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's a promo video vacation in July.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Well,
like one
that's
of those things that like you never have time to do, but it might be like the one thing that is preventing a student from actually enrolling in your course.
Yeah, absolutely. Housekeeping on your course is important, and they talk about that in the studio. So, it's like that's something that I need to do. Is now that it's been a year, my first course was my WordPress marketing course, and then the MailChimp course came next. And so I need to go back in and look at cleaning those up a little bit, making sure that information is still up to date and current, seeing
Yeah.
if I can add new stuff or whatever, or maybe something needs to be pulled, because you know how it is, like with things like WordPress or software, some things become obsolete
Yeah.
and they're no
Quickly.
longer available. Yeah. So you mentioned your website, which is the Video School Online. Why don't we go ahead and talk about that briefly? And also there's another project that you kind of are involved in a little bit, and just let people know about that too.
Yeah, so videoschoolonline.com is my website that I started after teaching a couple classes and realizing that I need a home off of Udemy to basically promote my courses and have a little bit more control. And so I post weekly articles to there, and then Video School Online is my brand. So my YouTube channel is Video School Online, and that's how all my courses are branded, and I talk about it a lot. And so if you don't have a website where you can promote your classes, I think that's the first step to building a brand and getting more potential students. Also capturing email subscribers, and that's something that I've been working a lot on lately, is how do I get more people subscribed to my list? Because if you've listened to any sort of well-known internet marketer, they will say that your email list is, if not the most important, one of the most important things that you have, because it's in your control. And I didn't pay attention to it for a long time. I had a really bad lead magnet where I offered 50% off some of my courses, and I realized that no one's going to subscribe to a list if it's just to get a 50% off coupon, when you could probably find a better coupon on Udemy on any given day. And so I went ahead and created, actually I took my freelance Kickstart book that was on Amazon and I kind of repurposed it, and that now is my lead magnet. So it's a 47-page guide, and it's completely free for signing up for my list. And as soon as I changed it a month or two, or it was probably a few months ago, as soon as I put that as my lead magnet, I saw a huge uptick in subscribers. It went from about 1,500 subscribers to now over 2,200, and just over a month or two. And so having a lead magnet, getting subscribers is important, because you can send out your promotional emails whenever you want, however much you want, on your own website. Now, I don't suggest doing that. I don't suggest putting out 10, 20 emails a month, maybe just one or two, just like on Udemy, but it's a powerful tool to have. And with my blog and articles, I just write about stuff that's related to my courses, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's more related to my personal life, but that, again, it builds up your SEO, your search engine optimization, and people might find your channel through Google and find your courses. And posting videos on YouTube is another great thing to do to get more students and to make a little bit of money on the side. I'm not making thousands of dollars on YouTube, but I'm making about $100 a month, which is great, because over the course of a year, that's over $1,000, and that pays for rent for half a month here in California. For one night.
One day.
But it does help, and so those two things, YouTube and my website, are the main ways that I build my own brand. And this other project that I'm working on is called teachingtribe.com. I'm promoting this website that was created by another Udemy instructor. It's basically a forum built for online instructors, because he and we saw that there's lots of people on Facebook and the Udemy Studio group that are asking questions and trying to learn, but as soon as they ask that question, it gets pushed down that feed so quickly, and the answer is completely lost. And so this forum, we just launched it last week, I think, and we're trying to get new instructors to go there and ask questions, and we want other instructors who have a little bit more experience to go on there and start answering questions and providing a good source of knowledge for new instructors. And so it just launched. There's, I think, the guy that I worked with, Nate, and myself might be the only ones that have posted anything on it so far. But it's actually a very clean site. It's easy to navigate. It's completely free. You don't have to purchase anything to use it. And so if you're a new instructor, it's just another good resource to have, and that's teachingtribe.com.
Yeah, I took a look at it, and it is a nice site, and I think something that's needed, because I totally agree that, you know, you see questions over and over again in the studio that really don't need to be asked over and over again, and that's something that I think that Udemy should really work on, and even some FAQs or something like that on common questions, because I bookmark, and I mean, this is something that I could do too, because I bookmark a lot of stuff in you know, the teachudemy.com and udemy.com, the support and all of that, that I have enough information that, you know, I could probably write a book right now on that kind of stuff. So but I think that that's cool, and we'll post this stuff in show notes and all of that, and you'll probably blog about that, and
definitely.
You've got below, like, there, the video school online / is it Hangout or Hangouts?
Yeah, Hangout. No
okay.
S. And so that is actually a little pitch for myself. That is, and for the students listening, that's, if you go there, you can check out my course on teaching online. So it's one of my most popular courses. It has over 7,000 students, and I created it at the end of 2013. So some of the content's a little old, but there's over 12 hours of me basically talking about everything that I've done to create this income stream to where it is today. And so it's a great course. It was actually $499, but now Udemy is making the max course price to be $300. So it's normally $297, but you can get it for $99 through that link, videoschoolonline.com/hangout. And there's also a link to my book if you want the Cliff Notes version of the course. You can buy the book, which is basically all of the lessons that I teach in that course, broken down to include only the main information, and that's on Amazon for $3. So the link is there on videoschoolonline.com/hangout.
And both of those are worth it. And you actually took my next question, is that's where you got, like, when you did that course, and we were going to talk about your books. We're at 45 minutes, but if you're okay, we can go over a little bit. I'm okay with that. And
yeah, I want to talk about the books a little bit.
Yeah, because that was something that we talked about beforehand, is that I have a book on social media that I wrote about 3 years ago, and I have a book that I'm working on, that I've been working on since I was born, on WordPress, because I procrastinate too much. But talk about, like, let instructors kind of know the whole process about taking these courses and turning them into books, or taking a book and turning it into a course too.
Yeah, I think either is great, because a lot of people interested in teaching courses might already have a book out on Amazon or that they've written in the past. And it's something that I just kind of fell into when I saw some other instructors doing it. They had some courses and they had turned their courses into a book. And so I tried doing it myself. I've done it two ways. One, I have had actual transcribers through Elance or Odesk transcribe my entire course. And then I've paid another person to edit that into readable text, because when I'm speaking on video, it doesn't translate to reading that well. And then I go in and edit it, make sure that it says the right stuff and that it still has my voice. And overall, that has been a great experience. It takes a little bit of time to find the right freelancer to do the job right. I've found that Elance and Odesk, while they have a lot of great people, they have a lot of people who end up bailing or not being very clear with what they can provide. And so it takes a little bit of sifting through the freelancers to get a good one. But I paid, I think in total, about $600 to transcribe my Teach Online course and have it edited into a book. And it's made more than that on Amazon. And it's not only the money that you make on Amazon that's great, but I can promote my courses within that book. And that's one of the best things that you can do, because making a couple bucks on Amazon's great, but if I can include a coupon in that book that for my course for a couple $100, and someone takes me up on that, that's a big chunk of change for just writing this book. And that's happened, I would say, probably every other month or so now. I'll get a sale from that coupon, and that's an extra $300, which is great. So cross-promoting to your courses is great, but also a new technique that I found for getting people added to your email list is adding some sort of lead magnet at the start of your book that you're selling on Amazon. And my lead magnet for my latest book, which is the Freelance Kickstart book, is a free audio version of the book. So you purchase this book for free or for a couple bucks on Amazon, and after a quick intro, there's a little page that says, hey, if you want the audio version of this book, get it for free on my website. And they have to sign up for my email list to get that. But that's another reason why my email subscriber list has jumped up in the past couple months, because I launched that book about a month ago, and a lot of people have been subscribing to my website through that link. So I would be careful about making your book too spammy. I know I got a lot of complaints when I launched my first book, the Teach Online book, because at the end of every chapter, which there were like 100 chapters, I had a link for my course saying, hey, if you're interested and want more stuff, check out the course for $297. And like so many people emailed me and wrote reviews on Amazon saying that's like so annoying. And so I suggest doing it at the start of the book, at the end of the book, and then in the middle, like if you have sections that are broken up at the end of each section. But but not every chapter. But it's been great, and I think for Udemy instructors, it helps build your portfolio of content. It helps make you feel and seem more of an expert in your field and become a real thought leader in your skill set.
Yeah, I think that that's great advice, because you know, you mentioned like with the newsletter and then the course coupon, is that they don't even have to buy your book to see that, because Amazon shows the first 10% of the book. And something I've learned is take your, you know how like in a traditional book you have like you're thanking people and stuff like that, and even your bio, and move that to the back of the book, and then at the front of the book have, you know, information on your, with your lead magnet and your course coupon and stuff like that, and then give them a little bit of the book to read and all of that. So I think that that's good advice on that. Let's see.
And it's not hard to do, because now Amazon just accepts Word files, and you can basically write your ebook. You don't have to format it in any funky way like you did before, and it's up there live on Amazon.
Yeah, I use Word to when I wrote my book, and there's things like what is it, Scrivener, I think, or Scrivener, is another tool that's out there. One of the things I did want to say is, you mentioned Odesk. They actually have changed names. They're called Upwork, Upwork.com.
Oh yeah, I got some emails about that.
Yeah, so if somebody's interested, there's Elance, and then there's used to be Odesk. It's called Upwork.com, but those are two great places when you're looking for somebody to do stuff for you. Besides Fiverr, I mean, if you do your homework and your research, you can find some decent people out there on Fiverr, because it's not just $5 on Fiverr anymore. You know, they can do like their gig extras and stuff like that. So you just have to kind of poke around and see what they've done before in the past for other people. And then we also talked about going into Video Hive, and that's part of it. The company is called Envato, and they own themeforest.net, which has a lot of WordPress type themes, and Code Canyon, which has got some great plugins and stuff like that. Definitely, like if you're an instructor, website, I always say, is a must-have, and that's why I teach my courses on that stuff. I'm very passionate about WordPress because it's very simple, it's affordable, it's easy to get started with. And then like Phil was talking about your email marketing list, that's why I have a course on MailChimp, because it's affordable. It's so affordable that it's actually free for what's called the Forever Free plan, but it allows you to start building that list up. And there's a term called the money is in the list, and you would be amazed. I mean, it doesn't take like a large list. I have a list now of about 1,000, and you're not going to get a response back from all 1,000. But even if you get like a small fraction, it could mean like a fairly good sizable chunk of change, or new students when your course comes out. So take his advice and make sure that you look into that kind of stuff. I think like with that, what we'll do here to wrap up is just some last minute advice that you might have for those instructors that are either new, or instructors that are like myself, where they're into their first year, to take it to that next level.
Yeah, and along with that, I just want to mention, because Dennis always haggles me about using social media, I have been working harder at it. I've been posting to Facebook more regularly, and I've actually been posting videos to Facebook more regularly, because with Facebook, they show their own videos, and it's a lot easier to view the videos that are posted to Facebook than on YouTube. And so I am trying, and it's actually doing well. I think I have like 800 or almost 900 likes now. I think the last time we spoke about 4 months ago, I had like 500. So
wow.
So social media, it's getting there. I'm learning. But in terms of tips for instructors, any sort of instructor, I would just say just to keep with it. I've been doing this for 3 years, which is like ancient for online teaching, and it's taken a while to get to this level, and Udemy doesn't seem like it's slowing down. It's not going to stop growing anytime soon. They just got a ton of money to expand into other countries and in different ways. So Udemy is still the go-to place for online instructors, and just keep putting out that content. I know it's hard sometimes to make the time to not only create courses but also create the free resources that you can put out there online, but take some time to create free guides, put out free articles, put out free YouTube videos, because the more of that you put out, you'll eventually start to get fans and raving fans who will buy your courses, and then just keep putting out courses. And if you don't have anything else to teach, work with another instructor and co-teach a class, and use your experience as someone who knows the Udemy platform, as someone who knows how to create an online course, to balance your skills. And content is king in my world, and just keep at it and never give up.
Great, thank you. Some great advice today. I appreciate you joining me today. And that web address below there is where people can find you. Is there anywhere else that you'd like to share where they can find you online?
Just videoschoolonline.com. The main page is a great place to look. You can link out to all my other social media from there, and I'm going to be doing a lot more articles just about the behind the scenes of online teaching and running my online business and freelancing on that site. A lot of people have asked. I sent out a survey a while back saying, what type of content do you want? And for the longest time, I've just been posting tutorials about how to make videos and stuff, but more and more people are asking me to post articles about how do you actually do what you do and make a living online. And so I'll be posting more stuff on Video School Online that might interest you guys.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks, Phil. I appreciate it. And if you want to find me online, you can find me at dennisjsmith.com, and I'll be posting the replay to this online and letting people take a look at it if they want to review it. And if you have any questions, I'll be posting it so that you can ask questions below the video on YouTube or when I post it online. So appreciate you joining me today, Phil.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
All right, thanks.